everybody, I'm Philip.
And I'm Justin.
And together we are Pajamas. And we are embarking on Squid Game Episode 2. And we are also embarking on a different recording method.
Yes.
Due to this last weekend, our recording schedule was interrupted by a person downstairs having a party at 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., which are our peak recording times. We didn't get as much done as we wanted to. So we are trying something different before bed. So hopefully this works out. Maybe it'll make for better videos. Who knows?
Maybe.
But yes.
At least we don't have to worry about noise.
Well, we have traffic out there because it is early in the morning because we are night owls, and then maybe they'll make noise. They probably will, knowing how much the universe hates me. But we are going to try and fit this in before bed. This is a test run. Hit the ground running and see how well we do. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Well, they have to destroy the evidence somehow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, somebody's still alive. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, that'd be horrible.
456명 중에 255명이
Dang.
탈락하여
동의서 제3항 참가자 과반수가 동의를 하면 게임은 중단된다.
Yep. I was wondering if that
맞습니까?
would come into play.
그럼 투표에 앞서 첫 번째 게임에서 적립된 상금을 공개하겠습니다. 열려있는 상금 액수 1억, 따라서 255억의 상금이 돼지점통에 적립되었습니다. 여러분들은 빈손으로 돌아가시게 됩니다.
I mean, you'd be alive.
투표해주세요.
You have a daughter. Well, no, you won't see her again. Okay, never mind. Aww. Songwoo, what are you doing?
어차피 나가도 생 지옥이야, 이 씨발.
지금부터 민주적인 투표 절차를 방해하는 어떠한 행위도 용납하지 않겠습니다. 이제 마지막 투표자입니다. 1번.
What does he have to lose?
Exactly.
의사가 그런 내 머릿속에
Exactly.
생겼대. 뇌 종양.
Yep. Oh. Oh, wow. I did not expect that.
여러분의 다수가 게임의 재개를 원하시면 언제든 게임을 다시 시작하겠습니다.
What?
너 이리 와. 내 돈 내놔. 내 돈 내놔. 이게 한두 명도 아니고요. 200명이 넘게 그냥 막 쏴 죽였다니까요.
그 게임이 뭐라고요?
무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다요. 선물로 그 돈을 써? 누구 선물을 얼마나 비싼 걸 산 거야?
내 거 말고 어머니 거까지 다 들어갔어. 집이랑 엄마 가게까지 다.
치료만 하면 되는 거죠?
최악의 경우엔
보험? 네 기억 안 나나? 그거 벌써 해제해가 다
와우.
써버렸잖아.
나 여기서 못 간대. 누나가 나 여기다 버린 거래.
나이 새끼야!
Ow.
일단 니네 부모 소재 파악부터 다시 해야 되고 요즘 그 4천 이상은 있어.
Jeez.
거기서 다시 남조선으로
네. 결혼을 했어요? 아직 안 갔어요. 아 근데 우리 아들이 눈이 좀 높아.
필요합니다. 조상우 씨께서 횡령과 사문서 위조, 특정 경제범죄 가중처벌법 위반 체포영장이 발부됐습니다.
장애. 안주가 없어서 어떡하죠? 잠깐.
형님 그러니까 그거 좀 적당히 좀 하시죠. 덕수. 병신. 필리핀 전기빵 안에
그 사람한테 좀
미쳤어?
Uh-oh.
우리 왔어.
우리 가족 앞에 다시는 안 나타나 주셨으면 합니다. 가영이가 많이 힘들어합니다. 이제 미국으로 떠나야 되는데 자꾸 이런 식으로 부스 나타나시.
Ooh. Hmm. Hmm. Well, that was rather depressing.
And compelling.
Yeah, don't watch depressing things before bed. I think my favorite part of this is that we realize that we've seen it before in other forms of media, but sometimes the villains aren't always the villains.
Indeed. Things are not always as they appear to
Yeah.
be. Not only things, such as situations, but also people and what they do.
Yeah. Like she's trying to get her parents, I think from North Korea, to either China or South Korea.
Which actually is easier. It's easier to go from North Korea to China than from North Korea to South Korea. Since China and North Korea, they're allies with each other.
Okay. Would her parents be safer in China?
It can depend on the situation. They could have the attitude of if you don't bother me, I won't bother you. So if people do flee, they could, if necessary, send them back.
Ah, okay.
As part of some sort of deal if they have one.
Right.
But I cannot say that for certain.
Right, yeah.
I'm not that familiar with the situation.
Right. Yeah, pretty much everyone other than Snake Tattoo guy is sympathetic in some way.
I pretty much thought that the people who are coming back to pick everyone up, they would have suspected that someone is going to try to do this and have some sort of plan.
Yeah, maybe, because Pickpocket Girl is still awake, and the police officer is trailing the one minivan thing. Because at first I was confused. Well, at first I was surprised that not everyone, but the majority voted to leave. And it came down to the older gentleman who, I mean, we both said in some way, he had nothing to lose.
Indeed.
By staying, but it was...
In fact, by staying, if he does lose, it would be a short, quick death, whereas going back out there, it's a painfully slow one. And what's more, many of the people that were there, they have no one to miss them.
Yeah.
Which is actually probably why it would be so advantageous to take said people, because who's going to file the missing persons report?
Well.
A few may be missed, but with that much debt...
Yeah. I just like that the democratic voting process was essentially greed versus humanity. And...
a bit of a social satire?
Maybe. I just like that the person with nothing to lose, who was condemned to death. I mean, we all are, but he was like terminal. Still chose humanity in the end. In that moment.
I could actually see it from both ways, actually, because, well, yes, like they did mention, some of them wanted to stay and some of them wanted to go. Well, all right. Those that wanted to go, how about letting them go, and those that want to stay, stay?
Well, that's what they were saying, yeah.
Yes, I can see it from that point of view, because it would seem as if those who have realized that they have nothing to lose, basically, if they stay here, it could be a heads or tails, whereas out there, no, there is no flipping of the coin.
Yeah, imagine you voted to stay and then you had to leave. Like how angry you would be.
Yes.
Because when they said something to the extent of, if you leave, you have the chance to come back or something. And at first I was like, what? Or you can, I forget what the exact wording was now. They would have the opportunity to return. And I'm like, well, if you're voting to leave, how would you? And I'm like, oh, okay. So you're sending them back to their miserable lives, letting us all see just the various states of misery that they're in. And I'm like, they're all going back. They're all like, all 201 of them are going to come back, I bet. anything.
Probably.
A neat way to build sympathy and to world build outside of the games and to build for more than one character. Because in episode 1, we only got Seong, really, his perspective, and just a little bit of Songwoo, just a little tiny bit, and just a little bit of people like the tattoo guy and then the pickpocket. We got little tidbits, but like we got full
Scenes. Small scenes.
Yeah. I thought they did a good job of establishing each person and motive and desperation and, why they would want that prize money.
Indeed. I could also see it from the people of the point of view who voted yes, in that, well, yes, they realize their own personal issues and they have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, as it's shown in this episode, it shows exactly what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if they had discussed that with the others about their situations of why they would want to vote yes or no, then maybe it would have been a much more informed vote, which actually does show the situation of the social commentary of the democratic process, because many people actually don't have all of the information.
Yes.
And actually, yes, they do. In many cases, whether directly or indirectly, they are basically deciding whether people live or die by voting for this or that. Yes, people could very well be doing that without even realizing that.
Yeah.
With the decisions that they make.
Yeah, I could go into a little rant about
Not only with
that,
voting, but about pretty much any action out in society when you think about it.
Oh yeah. Realistically, the thing you're voting for is not just that. There's a ripple effect.
Yes.
And there's often hidden stuff buried in. It's like, vote no on, issue blah blah blah. They're going to give you the title. They're going to give you "We the People." Vote for "We the People." And you're like, yes, we the people. A lot of stuff you're voting for isn't exactly what you're voting for. It's given this candy coating so that the bitter middle inside is masked. You think you're doing good, but in the end, you're doing more harm than good, which could correlate to what we saw. People that voted to leave thought that, you think you're doing good. You think you're voting for humanity, not greed. But are you doing more harm than good?
Well, whether you vote yes or no or something, somebody is going to be disadvantaged in some sort of way.
A lot to think about and take in. But a lot of it I cover in my notes. Would you like to go to those?
Yes.
All right, let's go to my notes.
Philip's notes.
So we find out that 255 of them died. I was surprised that I thought it was going to be, each episode was going to be a game or something, but in fact, no.
It could depend upon how many people survive to the next game, considering, which will determine if there is going to even be another game after that.
455 could have died that first one, and you have a winner.
Hypothetically, if all but one survive, what could possibly be the next game?
Yeah, that's true. I wonder how they account for that, yeah. If for some reason, everyone but one person panicked on red light and green light, and they were the sole winner. I guess you win. All that money out of the piggy bank. Last time I did the conversion, the amount that the dollar to won was worth changed. So my amounts weren't exactly right. I'm gonna look at it again. I'm going to post it on the screen like I did last time, but it's going to be what they're worth today. It changed within the 2 days it took me to film it, then edit it. But just it went from 1.85 to 1.84526. It was just so it was off a little bit.
Oh, then it could still work as an estimate.
Yeah. I still so right now it's worth 1.173. So it's went down even more. But I want to know just roundabout roughly. We'll give a rough estimate. I gave exact dollar amounts last time. We'll do rough estimate. So if my sleepy estimate is correct, they have the chance to win $21 million right now. But if they stay to the end, they will get approximately 38, almost 39 million US dollars. Now you understand why they stay. Now I understand.
When I saw the money coming down, though, I would have wanted to check, somehow verify that this money is real, is it?
Yes.
You couldn't have, you didn't go to a copy machine and then printed all of these.
Yeah, or it's like 500,000 or 50,000 note, 50,000 note, and then blank stuff in between. That kind of thing. Yeah. Let me screenshot these real fast.
When I saw that money falling down, that's what immediately came to my mind, because as far as we know, they could be lying and there could be no money.
Yeah, that's true.
It could all simply be for their amusement, and then when they're done with me, if I'm the last person alive, then get rid of me, and then do the whole game over again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. They could just be lying.
Hypothetically,
yeah.
It could be.
Yeah. That's very true, yeah.
Obviously, because of being so secretive, we don't really know anything about these people.
Yes. Yeah, like they're putting all their trust. Which is, yes, it's the morning if you can hear the traffic. I'll try and edit it out. But that is probably the garbage person. So it's the price we pay for doing this at a different time than usual. At least we'll have this one in the bag, and we don't have to worry about, because we only have one night together this weekend. So it's another reason we wanted to try and do this, just in case stupid neighbors make it impossible for us to record.
It's a new method, so it's trial and error at this time.
Yes, exactly. Back to the notes. And then we saw that one of the people wasn't all the way dead. And they shoved their hand back in the box and nailed it shut, and they're going to be cremated alive.
Which then actually did put a bit of a damper to what I was arguing about earlier, about people deciding, oh, short quick death or painfully slow one out there.
Yeah.
But, well, that could be two things. Either one, yes, that person is being cremated alive. Which would be a horrific
the hand
death.
is moving.
But if, yes, that could be rigor mortis.
No, I don't think it's like that. It wouldn't be like, I'm going to pop out of the box. You're going to pop the lid off of a coffin casket and then like try and reach up and out.
With escaping gases escaping through the mouth, giving the audible seeming that someone is actually crying, but actually it's a natural process of the decomposition of the body. Or I'm simply giving this secret group too much credit.
And then I like the whole discussion when the crowd was protesting the people before the vote. How they were like, you're killing us. You killed all those people. And they were like, no, we eliminated them. You want us to play your game so you can kill us. No, you're playing our game. And if you don't follow the rules, you get eliminated. Just using the euphemism, like taking all of the emotion and meaning from the word kill and turning it to eliminate. I thought it was interesting how they're so adamant in being that's not murder. It's not killing. It's elimination. It's such a very like something you would hear on your left or right wing news channel. Like they would use the word eliminated because that's the verbiage they use. They never give you the emotional word. They give you the,
Well, yes, especially since kill is a very broad word, whereas eliminate is a much more specific word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, which actually does make it a bit more accurate, though at the same time vague. Because eliminate can be used in more than one way.
Exactly.
Well, kill can also be used in more than one way. Well, yes, they cannot say it conclusively, because if they do, well, then the news station is going to be in trouble for spreading false information.
Well, the job of the news is to spread actual information, not to not to deal in conjecture. I like how they were like they voted to leave, but then they were like, but wait, dun 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 dun, prize money. It's like that's ooh.
Assuming that it's real.
Yes, following your hypothesis. So if you were in that situation, you had to vote. What would you do? Would you vote no to go back to the life you had? Let's say I was waiting for you at home and you just went missing. I didn't know where you were. Or would you vote yes, take the chance, but condemn everyone else but you to death?
Well, you see, either of those two decisions, I remember them saying about how selfish they were for voting to stay, but actually to vote yes or to vote no, both of them are selfish.
Yeah.
You could be selfish in the sense that you're going to think about your own livelihood, though it may be naive and definitely not really objective.
Yes.
Considering the state that they were in.
Yeah.
And well, it could be selfish on the other hand, that when they say, oh, actually, I don't have anything to live for, so why should I go back out there?
Well, yeah, they also said something to the effect of, if we leave, nothing changes. Like, that was the idea.
Yes.
And you nodded.
Yes, but at the same time, there are people who actually do want their lives to change for the better. So the fact that you want to live simply because it's inconvenient for you, but these other people, they will meet a fate much worse than a quick shot to the head. And they think that, well, that's actually very selfish of you to simply live in your fantasy, that it's better to go back out there. Whereas if we do continue with this, actually, we could be living a much better life. We could be living a better life in this place, having a short, quick death, instead of the painfully slow one of ending up dead in an apartment that is overdue with rent.
Well, that just shows how magnanimous the last voter's decision was, because his death will be painful.
Yes.
You know, he has a brain tumor. It's going to be painful, rather than a shot to the head or just being shot, you know, through the chest or to the head or whatever. A quicker death.
Oh, yes.
So it just shows how substantial
Yes.
that was.
Basically, they're doomed. They're selfish if they vote yes, selfish if they vote no.
Like most things, it's not as cut and dry as it seems. So,
like life.
Yeah. And death. Life and death. I like the double standard of, we will no longer condone acts that stop the democratic process. That was amusing. Like, just have this like this is like dictatorship, like
giving people the impression that they're actually being given a choice. That, well, actually, it's only of A or B. You don't get to vote C if you don't like A or B.
Right, yeah.
So exactly, how democratic is this?
And then they all leave. Well, they all get taken away from Mystery Island. We find out that Song-woo is a good guy. He's a nice guy. He gives the guy money for a bus so he doesn't have to leave. Then we kind of start following people's stories. Like I said at the beginning, you know, we find out Song-woo owes like $6 billion because of he, you know, invested in futures or whatever, and it just didn't work out for him. And then we find out that his mom's shop, everything she owns, is on the line.
Yes.
And that heartbreaking moment where, you know, the customer sees the picture and she's, oh, why he's so handsome, and if I could set him up. And then the mom's like, oh, he has high standards and he graduated from this school with, you know, a business degree. And then the police show up
in front of her while she's still there talking to her.
Yeah, that scene was really well done, because just the mom is confused and sad, and the customer is like, they're both embarrassed. Like, the mom's embarrassed because obviously, you know, you don't want that in public, and then in front of a customer, and then to be the customer to see it after hearing how great this person was, it's like,
yes, exactly. Ugh. If I were an officer, I would have wanted to say, Madam, may I speak with you for a moment in private?
Yeah. Then we find out that Seong's mom has diabetes. It's really it's really advanced. They may have to amputate her feet if they don't do something soon. He needs like, what, 2-3 million won to help her get the surgery or whatever.
Yes.
So he starts asking everyone, his friend. He even goes to his ex-wife's house, which, super awkward. And then the poor daughter, like how hard that must be for her. And then that argument they had about he wasn't there for her birth, but then he watched a coworker die. Makes you wonder, like, did that send him down that spiral of, you know, addiction that he's in. And then the new husband gives him money to pay for it in exchange for never seeing his daughter again. Which again is another catch-22, because in a year he's not going to anyway.
Yes.
Do you take the money with the inevitability that it's going to happen anyway? Or do you take that chance for, you know, millions and millions of US dollars? Billions of won.
Yes. If I were in that situation, I would have at least wanted to give the daughter one last goodbye, because I wouldn't have known, is this really going to be the last time that I would ever see her?
And then we talked about the thief, the pickpocket lady. She's getting swindled by these brokers who are trying to just basically bleed her dry. And I like that scene where she put a knife to his throat and said, I'll get the money for you. but if you fuck me over again, I will slit your throat. And then she robbed him.
Oh yeah, it's basically doing to them what they were doing to her. So basically she was, in a way, getting her money back.
Yeah. And then we see Ali, who was owed money, but his boss won't pay him. And that scene with a hand. Ow, ow, ow,
Yes.
ow, ow.
And now he's in trouble, but at least it isn't too late for his wife and child.
Yeah.
Quickly take this money and go far away. I'll deal with whatever legal things happen later.
Yeah. Hopefully they did manage to get out. And we find out that Snake Tattoo guy
He was cheated.
Owes a lot of money to a casino in the Philippines. And yeah, he was set up. No, maybe don't show your hand. Just be like, what are these cars here for? And just get out of the car being like, just pretend you don't, like, don't. That guy's bravado cost him his life.
Yes, I was wondering why he wasn't simply getting out of the car and then saying goodbye.
Yeah, yeah.
No, instead he decided to simply sit there and laugh and gloat.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just a bunch of little different stories and like backstories about what everyone was going through, and I liked it. Seong goes to the police, tries to tell them what happened. Of course, they don't believe him because he sounds like a crazy person. But then the brother, the police officer, finds that same card in his brother's dormitory.
Yeah.
So
raises suspicion.
Exactly.
That's very like a connection. When was the last time that anyone ever saw a card like that?
Right. Then we get to the scene where 456 meets 001 in real life. So it's Alpha and Omega meeting outside the games.
I do like that. The first number and the last number.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a nice scene. It was a nice, more world building with these characters. And then, and when they're getting picked up again, he's getting picked up outside the hospital. It was just a nice moment where, Seong shares his sake and the older gentleman shares his ramen, his uncooked ramen. And
yes, I thought, oh, the poor thing.
Nice touching moment. There's a lot of them. Like when Song-woo is in the bath, and I feel really bad for him. Like he just Snake Tattoo gambled at a casino, and Seong gambled on horses and owes loan sharks, and even Pickpocket Woman. Like, yes, she has a very sympathetic story, but she's doing what she thinks she needs to do, and she's fallen in with the wrong crowd. But at the same time, she's not completely, pure.
Yes.
In motive.
In a way, she also took a gamble for trusting these.
Yes.
For trusting this business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did she look into the background of these people to check them out to see if they are going to actually do what they say?
I mean, Ollie's really the purest of everyone because he is just in a bad circumstance. Well, yes. Everyone else is a victim of their own circumstances.
Indeed.
And of their own doing. But I like that they go out of their way to show Song-woo is a good person. He's actually a good guy. He just made a mistake. Or many. to owe 6 billion won.
Yes.
But maybe it's because I like him. I like him as a character. And so maybe I'm just seeing it through my own.
In his profession of being in business, one cannot go through there without rolling the dice, per se.
Yeah, yeah.
But indeed, with Ali, he didn't simply decide to not get paid.
Yes, exactly, yeah. He's the only one so far that is the purest of, and it makes his act of saving Seong in the first one. Like he's a good guy.
Yes.
Like he didn't have to do that.
They're all victims of circumstance, but some are even more victimized than others.
Exactly.
How about that?
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's cool we have this nice spectrum of dastardly to pure. And Ali is here, and then Snake Tattoo guy is here. And we have everyone else on different, where you can say Seong is a good person. Song-woo is a good person. Then you get to the, pickpocket lady. She's in the middle. She's doing bad for the sake of good. So she's flip-flopping. Then you have like Snake Tattoo dude, who's just a bad guy.
Which is also a social commentary in that they're all in the same situation, but they're all different types of characters.
Right.
Different nobilities or lack thereof of personality.
Mm-hmm.
Which shows that simply because someone is in this state or that state doesn't necessarily mean that they're a good or a bad person.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you can't judge somebody by their position or place at that moment in time in life?
Life then and now, actually, and probably in the future, it's going to be, is, and was more complicated than that.
Yeah, I know from experience, yeah. And then at the end, we get that really cool montage of everyone waiting and getting in the van and then closing the door and then getting gassed. Like, it was just like person, but they were showing the movement from person to person. Really well done. Really well done. And as we said, we end with the cop trailing the van and the pickpocket is still awake. And,
Yes.
And that is all for my notes. Everything else are for my patrons over on Patreon. This was a very heavy episode.
An aptly named episode.
Yeah. Called Hell.
Yes, which actually does even put the people who are arranging this game into perspective. Are they, in a way, saving these people?
Yeah. Because it makes you wonder, like, which one's the hell?
Yes.
Where they were or where they are?
Which shows that, are they really the villains here? Or are they people that are offering them the opportunity of a way out?
I think if you're listening to jazz music while 255 people are getting shot, you're kind of the villain, just a little bit.
And I would say that this probably shows that it's possible for someone to be both at the same time.
Well, yeah, that's the pickpocket girl. She's both good and bad at the same time. Yeah. So yes, I hope we're not forgetting anything. It is past our bedtime. So if we sound out of sorts or if I'm clicking a little more than usual, which I apologize for. I have a glandular condition that gets worse as the day goes on. Some days are better than others. Today's not one of those days. But I hope we're not forgetting anything. I hope that I think we covered most of it. It was just, there's a lot, like I have almost 3 pages of notes on this one because so much happened and I didn't want to forget.
I've covered everything.
Yeah.
Everything that I can think of, at least.
Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I was expecting another episode of games. And we kind of did. We had another gamble, but this time it was the as we were saying earlier, it was the real life.
The game of life.
Yeah,
that other game that everyone actually doesn't even have a choice to play. At least with those games, they had the democratic process to either continue playing or to leave. With this one, nobody does have a choice. You either play it or die.
Yeah.
And this time, you don't get to start with a level playing field like some sort of board game or anything like that. No,
like the game of life.
Yes, you end up with whatever you're dealt with, if anything.
Yep, it's all dependent on the genetic lottery. All you trust fund kids out there, be thankful.
Well, have a nice day, everyone.
Apparently, that's it then. Okay. Well, I'm assuming there's nothing else you want to add then about the episode? Alrighty. Well, it's going to wrap this one up. I am starting to get very sleepy. You can probably tell. My brain is getting super foggy. And before it shuts down completely, I will just say I don't have a fancy outro. So I'll simply say thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.